Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Aries November 2017 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Well, anyway, people, first thing is, well, the Sun will be in Scorpio as far as November goes from the 1st to the 22nd. And the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So this could be a focus on 8th house matters. It could be a strong focus on psychology, astrology, the occult, insurance. It could be about shining in these areas as well, perhaps in doing so, perhaps with a lot of that inner fortitude of Scorpio. And this could really be a very transforming period for Aries at this time. There could be a strong focus on getting power and control in various 8th house matters. So anyway, well, for November, the Sun will be in Sagittarius from the 22nd to the 30th, and the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So there could be this focus on expansion, perhaps exuberance in 9th house matters such as the law, perhaps even higher education and learning. As far as I should say just higher education is what I'm saying, learning through higher education such as in college and university, abstract thinking, perhaps even with in-laws and grandchildren if applicable. There might be a strong need to shine in these 9th house matters, and doing so with that Sagittarius-like exuberance and optimism as well. And anyway, well, the full moon will be in Taurus on November 4th. And for Aries, the 2nd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So during this time of this full moon, well, this could be something that may come to an end that required a lot of tenacity and persistence and perseverance, which might result perhaps in more money for Aries, and might also have an impact on the self-esteem and self-worth of Aries as well. This could be something where maybe a monetary situation comes to an end for Aries, or Aries may simply, being as impatient as Aries can be, might be tired and full of a certain monetary situation that might have had a negative impact on the self-worth and self-esteem, and is willing to go forward. So anyway, well, the new moon will be in Scorpio on November 18th. And the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So this could be a new period for Aries, doing something that might be very deep, going beyond the superficial. It could be a sexual or intimate relationship. It could even be something new connected with something Scorpio-like, such as the astrology, the occult, supernatural, forensics, and it might even be connected with maybe a business partnership connection, something where shared resources are there, where maybe might be done. This new thing that Aries may embark on may be done with somebody else. It might even be done with somebody in a situation where they're in that person that they're in that intimate relationship with, perhaps. So it could also be a new period of transformation for Aries as well, and it might be through some something 8th house related, such as psychology, such as the occult, supernatural, astrology. Anyway, well, as far as Mercury goes, Mercury will be in November. Mercury will be in Scorpio from the 1st to the 5th, and the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So this could be a lot of incisive communications, perhaps ones that are very probing as well, perhaps with sexual partners. It could be it could be matters pertaining to wills inheritances. It could be with a lot of this Scorpio-like probing energy, and really wanting really wanting to dig deep mentally into matters connected with the eighth house, such perhaps as psychological matters. It could be wills, it could be inheritances. Uh, just really, it could be about a period where Aries is really going beyond the surface into eighth house matters and going beyond the superficial mentally. So anyway, well, as far as November goes, Mercury will be in Sagittarius from the 5th to the 30th. And during this time, the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So this could be a time where Aries has, it could be a lot of blunt and very outspoken, to the point communications, perhaps with people that are perhaps in matters connected with the ninth house. It could be with people that are associated with the ninth house, such as in-laws and grandchildren. Perhaps it could be, if applicable, it could be very philosophical discussions and talking with a lot of exuberance and optimism, a lot of really about the power of positive thinking, so to speak, and a lot of positive reinforcement. And it could be matters connected with higher education as well, and being able to thinking about formulating a plan where they're really where Aries might be going beyond their horizons, and maybe and really maybe learning something new, perhaps some post high school studies, such as something in a college or university. And at the same time, it's very careful just to make sure. I mean, Mercury in Sagittarius, of course, I state for, is very blunt energy. It could be very tactless, and it's not exactly diplomatic. So be careful not to talk in a way during this time to in-laws and grandchildren, possibly, or maybe people that you might be attending a college with or traveling abroad with, in a way where you might really be demoralizing the person or embarrassing somebody with that communication. So anyway. Well, as far as November goes, Venus will be in Libra from the 1st to the 7th, and of course the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So this could be about having peaceful unions with somebody that you're in a relationship with. It could be the enjoyment of art and beauty and peace and things that are refined with perhaps a significant other, if applicable. Could also be about getting perhaps some money that's very bad, that you feel might be that comes out to be a fair and equitable amount. It could be from a legal situation perhaps. And this is also, it could be about the enjoyment of Libra-like things connected with Libra, such as balance, negotiation, compromise, and doing so perhaps with maybe that significant other, or maybe even somebody that you're in a business partnership with. When you're talking about Venus in the 7th house, it also could be money that might come in through some business partnership, and one where you feel there's a sense of balance with that money as well. Now, as far as November goes, Venus will be in Scorpio from the 7th to the 30th, and the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So during this time, well, there might be some enjoyment, let's say enjoyment, but well, yeah, you could say, I mean, Venus is about what we love and enjoy, so maybe some enjoyment in some Scorpio-like subjects such as astrology, the occult, supernatural, perhaps with somebody that you're in an intimate relationship with. In some cases, though, keep in mind that when Venus is in Scorpio, that lovers might be a little bit more manipulative, and you're talking about the 8th house energy in this, so it could be in matters connected with shared resources, and maybe the manipulation can lead to some kind of credit card debt. Could be another example. So I think it's just important to be careful of this. This is where lovers can be rather fixated and obsessed, and it could also be that you might have a certain enjoyment at this time, really perhaps in getting to the bottom of things and digging deep in matters even connected with death, and exploring maybe some mysteries that you feel are associated with this. So anyway, well, as far as November goes, Mars will be in Libra. I mean, it'll be in Libra for the whole duration of November, I should say. And during this time, it could be that there might be more contentious situations with people that you're in a relationship with. It could be also somebody that you're in a business partnership with, and also matters connected with legalities, if applicable, might be very contentious at this time. But that being said, given that Mars is in Libra, this could be a lot of passive aggressive energy. So it might be like, well, say you're in a situation with an open adversary. It might not be like a real heated battle going on then, but it might be something where, well, this person is just not responding, and this, or say you're in a relationship with somebody with a significant other, and there's some battle going on. It might not be a very loud, boisterous battle, so to speak, something that's outwardly combative, but something where you're requesting something from that person and they just don't respond to you. They're not compliant. They just won't do what you say, and maybe vice versa as well. So anyway, well, Jupiter, of course, is going to be in Scorpio during this month, and the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So during this time, there might be a strong exuberance, enthusiasm connected with 8th house matters. It could be it could be astrology, the occult, supernatural. It could be done in really going into this in a really deep way. It could be about the enlargement, perhaps, of inner fortitude and being able to maybe make a major change or transformation in one's life. It might even be a rebirth of some kind. And this too could be about making that luck through a transformation, and it could even be with maybe a sexual partner might play a role in this as well, or somebody that you're in an intimate relationship with. This is also very good. I mean, Jupiter in 8th house could be also very auspicious for inheritances and wills, but it might require being very probing in these matters as well, and investigative, and making sure that you're not being cheated, of course, and by doing so you could create your own luck. So anyway, well, Saturn will still be in Sagittarius, and of course the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So during this time, well, this could be a time where Aries might feel some maybe restrictions, perhaps in 9th house matters. It could be in something philosophical, or maybe matters connected with in-laws and even grandchildren, and if applicable, could also indicate that maybe an older person plays a role, perhaps in abstract thinking for Aries, and it's somebody that's very philosophical and has a lot of wisdom as well, perhaps, and in thinking outside the box at this time. This could be a time where perhaps even an authority figure might play a role or figure prominently in Aries' philosophical outlook during this time. So anyway, and it could also play, there can be something also, I mean, Saturn energy could also be about structure and discipline, and it could be giving this for Aries in matters connected with the 9th house, which includes, of course, higher education and in post-high school learning. So anyway, the next thing is, well, Uranus will still be in Aries, and the 1st house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. Now, this could be a time where Aries might show maybe a little bit more ingenuity and originality in doing so in that very pioneering Aries-like way. And keep in mind, too, that Uranus does rule electricity. So especially if this is Uranus hitting the Ascendant, in Aries Ascendant, making a conjunction to the 1st house, this could be a time where, I mean, electricity getting shocks. It can really, there could be a little greater propensity for this. I have Uranus almost exactly conjunct my 6th house cusp in my natal chart. You know the 6th house does govern health, and I have extensive nerve damage, and I've had shock sensations in my body actually, and I mean, this is no joke. And so I'm just saying for Aries to be careful, more prudent at this time, especially if you're in a profession where you're dealing with electricity. Make sure you're wearing the gloves or whatever you need to do and taking the precautions more at this time. So anyway, well, Neptune will still be in Pisces for November, and the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So Aries might experience a lot of chaos and tumult and confusion perhaps in their private life at this time. It could also be a time where in some isolated cases that you have, I mean, Neptune is also about drugs and chemicals and alcohol, so this could be, it could be getting involved in this in seclusion and in privacy, and it could be really lead to self-undoing for Aries. So it's a time to really be extra careful about this. If you are somebody that is doing drugs or you're involved with alcohol, and it could be too that there might be some where we're doing it in privacy and seclusion, where Aries might be doing something connected with the metaphysical, such as astrology. This could be an opportune time for that. And really, that's as far as Neptune goes. That's it for right now. What I'm talking about. But I'm going to get to Pluto. And the 10th house, of course, Pluto's still in Capricorn, and the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. And at this time, there can be some power struggles, some serious ones, perhaps maybe with supervisors, with an authority figure, maybe even the dominant parent, which is often the father. There could also be a major change connected with the career, and it could be something Capricorn related, such as something with business or being in a position of authority. Pluto also, remember, unlike Saturn, Pluto can obliterate and destroy. Saturn is about restriction and limitation, but this could be a time for Aries where the career might be obliterated and destroyed, but Pluto is also about rebirth, so often it just signifies that something else is on the way. Anyway, well, the North Node will still be in Leo, of course, and of course the 5th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So this could be a time, the North Node is about our future and our destiny and where we're trying to go. And during this time, it could be where that focus may be on 5th house matters. I mean, it could be creative endeavors. Being in Leo, this could be about getting notoriety, recognition, and attention for creative endeavors. It could be about expressing strong extroversion and gregariousness in matters of the heart, in romance and love, and also about wanting, perhaps, there can be a strong need for enjoyment and fun, and it could be through a little bit of Leo extravagance by spending maybe a little more than usual as well. So anyway, well, the Black Moon Lilith will be in Sagittarius as far as November goes, from the 1st to the 9th, and for Aries, the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, it could be that perhaps at this time that maybe in some cases we're talking about, the 9th house is, does govern in-laws and it governs grandchildren. So it could be something where maybe there's an unveiling of something connected with some work philosophy connected with an in-law, with a grandchild. It could also be that maybe that there's something. You look at this 9th house, and it could also just be about something philosophical in general that's unveiled, and that maybe that's connected with Aries and doesn't necessarily want it to come out. And also, you look at this, it could be connected with some learning that maybe something connected with higher learning and post-high school education that perhaps that Aries did not want to be unveiled. A Black Moon Lilith, they could also be something about, I mean, it can be nefarious energy, I believe, as well. So it could be something that really, you look at this ninth house, that it could be connected with the philosophy, or maybe something that Aries might have been over exuberant about, over optimistic about, doesn't want it to come out, and it doesn't want it to be unveiled, but maybe it does in some cases. And also Sagittarius can also be about gambling as well, so that could be something that maybe somehow this gambling and taking a lot of, or just not necessarily literally gambling, but gambling on situations in life is something tied in maybe to Aries' philosophical thinking in some cases, and doesn't want, and Aries may not want it to necessarily come out. So anyway, also another thing too is that the Black Moon Lilith will enter Capricorn on the 9th of November, and will be there as far as November goes through till the 30th. Now, this could be a time where for Aries, it might be perhaps something is unveiled in matters maybe connected maybe with the dominant parent, which is generally the father. It could be an authority figure, a supervisor, somebody that it could be. Anyway, one of these people might be expressing maybe some tyrannical, maybe tendencies, and maybe something where I mean, which really it's an unveiling maybe of a cold or callous attitude, maybe from from the dominant parent, which is generally the father. It could be from maybe an authority figure such as a supervisor. It could be something where maybe something comes out. We're talking about the 10th house, of course, is what will be emphasized for Aries at this time. It could be something that comes out, maybe that's dark about Aries, that maybe negatively impacts something very serious that comes out that impacts maybe the reputation and public image. It could be tied in with one's ambitions, one's career endeavors, and it could be something where Aries at a time might really unveil something of his or herself that might be about reaching career attainments at all costs, even in some isolated cases, maybe romping over others in the process. And it's like this dark side that maybe comes out to some degree as far as that goes. So anyway, well, last but not least, Chiron will be in Pisces still, and the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aries. So this could be a time where Aries might, in some cases, might be experiencing some suffering and some wounds, emotional wounds. Perhaps it might be connected with something drug related. I mean, such as alcohol or recreational drugs. It could also be maybe from just being, in some cases, very passive, not taking action, and it might be leading to some kind of self-undoing. It could also be tied into maybe an overabundance of seclusion and not willing to face reality. So those could be some elements connected, or some ways that this Chiron Pisces 12th house energy can impact Aries. But at the same time, keep in mind that Chiron is also, it's the wounded healer. It could also be a healer. So Aries might find ways at this time to maybe heal others immensely through something Pisces-like, such as the metaphysical, which can include astrology, or just through general healing, and done with a lot of Pisces. I should say, might be done. It might be helping, I should say, we're talking about Chiron in the 12th house, so it could be about healing perhaps people that are less fortunate, the oppressed, for example, the oppressed, the homeless, the impoverished, We're talking about 12th house less fortunate people, and doing so perhaps with that Pisces compassion and empathy. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Aries November 2017 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time where I'll be giving you my Taurus November 2017 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.